Welcome in to another episode of That Wrestling Show. How is everybody doing? Almost Halloween, Liam.
Ooh, it is. It's spooky time of year.
And we have a spooky show for you today because it's Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, WWE's TLC this Sunday on the WWE Network.
Yes.
For those of you NESN viewers, I am Mike Wendt. You know me from Wicked Bites every Saturday morning at 9:30 right here on NESN. Liam.
I am Liam Stryker of the New Age Insiders. You can find us on newageinsiders.com, on Twitter, Facebook, all those fun social media
and shenanigans
things.
on the lines.
Yeah.
And we have fun and shenanigans on today's show.
Oh, yes, we do.
Shenanigans at least. I don't know how much fun we're going to have, but
yeah.
definitely shenanigans because it is the annual TLC. Tables, Ladders, and Chairs.
You know, I'm disappointed. Every year I say this. I hate the, and I think I said this on the last show.
Probably.
I hate how we have shows that are match specific. Hell in a Cell
is a strong word.
Hell in a Cell, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. I would much rather have Halloween Havoc. I would much rather have Halloween Havoc.
I think we would all really
one
want Halloween Havoc. And I think the viewers of WWE Network has said they wanted Halloween Havoc from 96 over 205 Live at the very least. That old joke was still hammering it home.
Yeah.
However, see, I thought, so we're going to get right into the match card here. I thought the kickoff show was going to be the Cruiserweight thing.
Yeah.
Until again, breaking news, the kickoff show. I love how they announce it like breaking news.
Yeah, I know.
Breaking news, show up for the kickoff show on YouTube or wherever. Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox.
I don't care.
It's really going to, that's something you got to see, right?
Well, right.
They've built it. It's been a long, hard-fought story for what, 3 months now? They haven't done anything?
Well, they keep having these two wrestle, and Sasha Banks keeps winning.
Yes.
And then Alicia Fox keeps coming up with excuses as to why she shouldn't. Like,
okay, so you actually know there's a story involved. See, I didn't know there was a story involved.
So there have been two matches,
Yes.
at least two matches, where Sasha Banks has won, and Alicia Fox, in all of her crazy, has complained.
I love Sasha Banks is crazy. And Alicia Fox is crazy.
Yes. It's the most developed female character that they have.
And they do nothing with her.
Right, absolutely
Every
nothing.
time she shows up, she gives you TV gold.
Yeah,
and it's like one-offs.
It's because she's not as talented a wrestler as the other women.
Who cares? Tell me a story.
I know, you're right. But she is just mad that she hasn't been able to rightly win against Sasha Banks.
So she hasn't won, so that's why we're fighting to,
Yeah.
It's the fight to win on the Mountain Dew kickoff show, I think, or...
Yeah, the Diet Dew.
The Stacker 2, or whatever.
The Stacker 2, Diet Dew.
The JVC Kaboom Box kickoff show, yes, okay. So, I mean, I know it's not had the greatest of builds, but let's go a prediction anyway.
I want to say that Sasha Banks wins.
I want to say Alicia Fox wins.
Maybe.
I'm going with Alicia Fox, because if that seems to be the only through line is that she hasn't won, let's give her a win.
Yeah, let's give her the win.
Let's give her the win. Let's get right to the show. The match that I thought was going to be the kickoff show. The Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher versus Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann. Tell me who these people are.
So they're all on 205 Live.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Jack Gallagher was that British gentleman with the umbrella.
I'm being a little sarcastic.
Right.
I do
this
know.
This is more for the people at home.
Yes, exactly.
Who don't watch 205 Live.
I do like Jack Gallagher, and I do like Brian Kendrick.
He turned heel like 3 months ago.
Okay.
And nobody knew.
I thought he always was a heel.
No, he was a good guy.
Well, they always dressed him as a heel.
Yeah, no, he had like tights. He had like British tights.
Yeah, that's very heelish.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess. But
and British, he has to be a heel, right?
I guess. And now he looks like WB Mason, and so that's
okay. I did see them wrestle on Raw. Does he actually wrestle his matches in a suit?
Yeah, now he does.
That's his gimmick now.
That's his gimmick now.
All right, I'm with it.
Yeah, and the Brian Kendrick.
Love the Brian Kendrick.
Who is the veteran of the 205 roster.
He is.
Yeah, they've teamed up and they don't like Cedric Alexander for whatever reason.
So they're the heels.
Yeah, they're the heels.
For you at home.
And Cedric Alexander found Rich Swann, and all of this feels vaguely racist.
Does Cedric Alexander dance?
Yes.
Because Rich Swann dances.
Rich Swann dances. Cedric Alexander doesn't dance as much.
Okay.
It's not built into his character.
Okay.
But it does feel...
But when Rich Swann starts dancing, Cedric Alexander's... I want to say Cedric the Entertainer, but Cedric Alexander dances with him.
Yes. Yeah. Not
adorable.
Not in a Bollywood sense.
Okay.
But Jinder Mahal's not in this
We have that on SmackDown.
Yeah, I know.
We have the Bollywood on SmackDown. Okay, so who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann. it just feels like it's time.
It feels like it's time?
Yeah. Cedric Alexander has been picked on by Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher.
The story of this.
Yeah, he's been picked on by those two. So having him get out on top at the pay-per-view feels like what.
See, I mean, for me, again, we've talked about not watching 205 Live, but this very much felt like it came out of nowhere because, like, 2 weeks ago, all of them were beating up Enzo.
Right.
Like, together.
All of them.
All of them
right.
seemed like they were all part of the 205 thing against him.
That's true.
I understand you have to have people fight.
Yeah.
But how did this all set? How did the cruiserweights explode?
I don't know. They
okay.
just, that was the weird part.
I'm watching too much Halloween Havoc. That's the problem.
Yeah, right. You're watching too much Halloween Havoc 1995.
Right.
But the cruiserweights, it's
all fun here, kids. It's all fun.
They just didn't like Enzo, and then
Well, who does, really?
And then they divided up in between, like, the bad guys are, like, okay with Enzo and the good guys aren't.
That happened this past week.
Yeah.
So it's literally a 6-day build.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
There's probably been a lot of Twitter happenings about
probably.
this. Enzo likes to tweet, I guess.
Enzo.
So there's probably been a lot of like Twitter beefs, if you will. A lot of Twitter beefs are going to be settled here at TLC with the Cruiserweights while you're getting your beer and pizza.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Who do you got? You said Cedric and Rich?
Cedric and Rich.
All right, I'll go with you on that one. Why not? The Cruiserweight title.
Yes.
The Cruiserweight title. Champion Kalisto versus Enzo Amore. I actually had to flip this when I was writing out the page because I forgot Kalisto won the title.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
Yeah. This whole thing is very, very interesting. First of all, it should be a TLC match.
It should be Neville. Let's just call a spade here.
Yeah.
It should be Neville.
It should be Neville. Neville asked to be released.
It's been a weird, murky.
We don't know. Maybe,
facts
possibly.
are not in yet.
Facts aren't in yet. Fake news. A whole 9 yards.
I haven't got my text yet from Paul.
Yeah, right. So who knows? But Kalisto came in. This match was supposed to be Enzo as champion versus Kalisto as the challenger.
Okay.
But then Neville was supposed to be in the lumberjack match, but he quit, so they pushed everything up. And then now it's who knows what ends up happening. But this should be a TLC match. This is what the pay-per-view is. If it's tables, ladders, and chairs, this at the very least should be a ladder match for the Cruiserweight title. You have two guys, especially one in Kalisto, who is designed for this type of high-flying, ladder, death-defying match. So stick him in it. Stick him in it. Make it more exciting. Have it be more than just the one match at the end, which doesn't have a title on the line, but is for some reason a TLC match.
I mean, I agree 100%, and we kind of briefly touched on it at the beginning about the name-specific, the match-specific names, and at the very least, I mean, like you said, there's only one gimmick match in this whole show. Usually there's a chairs match, there's a ladder match, there's a tables match, then there's a tables, ladders, and chairs match. They do kind of pepper it in, which I'm fine with.
Right, but there's none of that.
And you hope that it's going to like last minute change, like, Kurt's going to come out and we're going to add a ladder to this match, because it does. It makes absolute sense with these two. It's the Cruiserweights. They do flips. Why not put a flips off a ladder?
Right, exactly. And the worst part is that the one TLC match that they have on this card, the basis of a TLC match is it's a ladder match, that you are climbing the ladder to get something.
That is true.
That is what this match was designed for. And the one match that has it has nothing on the line that you can climb up to retrieve.
Well, maybe they're going to put Roman Reigns' affection for the fans up there.
Nobody wants that.
I want that. We'll get there. We will get there. So Cruiserweight title, who's coming out, Enzo or Kalisto?
I think Kalisto
holds on to it?
Yeah. Although Enzo...
The only thing about it is Enzo has really... I mean, he says it, and he says it in a heelish way, but I told you a couple weeks ago, he's actually made this division interesting to me, to the casual fan.
Right.
To someone who just watches for entertainment value and not the flips and dives. The last two Raws, they closed out the show, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, say what you will about Enzo as a performer, but...
In-ring performer.
He's very popular, and he is the type of star that the Cruiserweight division is needed. So having him go
is he the star they deserve?
No, that's Neville. That's Neville. But having him be on 205 Live has brought eyes to 205 Live. Kalisto, I don't think, moves the needle in the same way.
I don't think he does at all.
Everybody immediately hoped that when Kalisto came out to challenge Enzo, that it was going to be Rey Mysterio. everybody was hoping that's
that
what it was.
great, yeah.
And that's the real answer. If you can get somebody like Rey Mysterio to come back to the Cruiserweight
They
division,
did kind of sell it. Kurt was like, we just signed this, but it was supposed to be like, they don't do Wahoos anymore. They really don't.
Right.
There's no more Wahoos in wrestling. It's not like anything. And I know part of it's the internet, and I don't want to dive too deep into that. And we all know all the secrets and all the tricks and who signs where and all this stuff, but there's no real surprises anymore.
No.
I think the last one was the Dudleys, and that was, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And before that was Shane, and that was a year before that, or I'm getting my timelines mixed up. I don't know when they all came back. But anyway, that's the type of stuff you want with moments like that. Not just like, oh yeah, he's been injured, we'll bring him back.
Yeah, he's been on the SmackDown.
He's on the roster.
He's been on the SmackDown roster, and now they signed. I don't know.
It was like when Jason Jordan showed up on Raw. It's like, were they on? I don't know what show they were on.
Right.
This isn't a huge deal.
The last time I saw Kalisto, Braun Strowman threw him away in the trash. So,
oh, yeah, it was. Yeah. So you're a fan, obviously.
I'm a fan of Braun Strowman.
Sure, throwing people away in trash.
Yeah, I love Braun Strowman.
Throwing them in the bin, as they say.
Yeah, he just throws them out, and it's okay.
I think Enzo has to come out with this one.
I think
and I always go back to what tells a better story. What's going to keep me interested tomorrow? What's going to make me tune into Raw? I feel Enzo winning the title back and cutting another promo on Monday, and then going. It's wash, rinse, repeat type of thing with this. The way they do this, but I feel that tells a better story.
Yeah, you're right.
It's all about booking for me, so there is that. Next up, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Next up is Wyatt's Halloween. Well, we have Finn Balor
as the Demon Pumpkin King,
the Demon of Halloween, versus Norman Bates and Bray Wyatt and Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, now I'm a huge movie geek. This was direct Psycho.
Yeah.
This was Alfred Hitchcock Psycho.
Yes,
they even used the line, he wouldn't even hurt a fly, which was like the last line of Psycho, with Norman Bates portraying Mother. This is Bray Wyatt portraying Sister Abigail and just ripping lines from Alfred Hitchcock. Plain and simple. Now, that being said, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I like this type of spooky stuff happening in wrestling. We talked about the House of Horrors, the Rob Zombie House of a Thousand Corpses match.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought they did it great. Some people don't. People that like the flips and dives don't usually like these types of matches. I think they're great. My beef with it was that the Finn Balor cuts were terrible. As a video production guy, those cuts were terrible.
Well, it was dumb because
you're WWE. You have a giant budget. You can definitely get better transitions than that.
Well, I get what they were doing because it was Finn Balor. They wanted to somehow have Finn Balor be in the ring cutting a live promo.
That is a big problem.
To then cut to the demon paint being on him. And
they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted to play to the live audience, but they wanted to do the cool spooky stuff for us home at TV.
Right.
And it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't translate. There could have been a better way to execute it. I don't know how you do it, but there has to be a way to do it where you could have lights out and then, thrown something on him. And I don't want to say like a mask, because that would have looked stupid. But
and you don't want to do a stunt double,
right? You don't want
because it will be obvious it's not him,
right? So it's tough.
That's my only gripe though, was just their video transitions.
Yeah,
I like this stuff.
I love it too. I think it's going to be a ton of fun.
This is like old school Ministry of Darkness. This is fun.
I loved the Bray Wyatt Sister Abigail promo because they overlaid it with a female vocal. So it was him talking interlaced with a female vocal that was like 80 yards over it.
Which is kind of screamish,
where
they use the voice thing.
Right, and it was great. It was awesome because I love the idea of Bray Wyatt, right? And this is the first time since his debut that I really feel like we've dived all into it. We've dove all into this. And
the back half of 2017 has definitely been the let's explore this character.
Because I love the idea, there was a tweet that Bray Wyatt sent out a long time ago. Somebody made fun of him for being Husky Harris. And Bray Wyatt's tweet back to that person was, Husky Harris was a lost vessel that I now inhabit, or something like that.
All right.
Which is just like, oh, so you're some sort of weird, spooky demon entity that now is just possessing this person.
Bray Wyatt ate Husky Harris.
Right.
That's basically what you're saying.
Right. And so it's like, so now that's what it is. And now Sister Abigail is coming into the vessel.
Sister Abigail has been so many things.
Right. And she's coming into the vessel of Bray Wyatt. So it's like, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's adding paint to a character that has needed a new layer for a long time.
I do like the fact that they're also for the most part, keeping with the Sister Abigail continuity. Because there was the fear that they were going to then cast a wrestler,
physical person,
a female person as Sister Abigail, which, if the Randy Orton thing holds true in this storyline, she was dead, buried in that house. He burnt it.
Right. Yeah.
She ceased to be.
Right.
She is no more.
She is no more.
So I like the fact that they're keeping with that and kind of doing the Norman Bates thing where it's Sister Abigail is just one of the personalities in Bray Wyatt, just like Husky Harris.
Right.
He's in there somewhere.
Right.
Like you said, he's a vessel, probably down in the lower quadrant.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Just like Sister Abigail is a personality of Bray Wyatt. Now, that being said, I'm curious as hell to see how they play this out in the ring.
Right.
The demon thing, we know, we've seen it. He's just going to paint himself orange. It's fun. It's Halloween, kids. But
yeah, he's going to bring a chainsaw.
Sister Abigail, that was great, though. When he did Dallas and he did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I loved that version of the demon. But Sister Abigail in the ring is where they're going to make or break this, because it would have been easier to do a House of Horrors match for this.
Right.
Because they can do trick photography, they can play with all the after effects and all that stuff. But in a ring, it's live. You got a live crowd who's going to crap on this if it doesn't work.
Yeah, my expectation for what is in the ring is going to be Bray Wyatt with, like, the Sister Abigail end of things is going to be
How long can you wear a veil in a ring?
Right, I think it's just going to be for the entrance.
Okay.
And then it'll be,
Do you think he's going to paint a little bit on his face, maybe?
So.
Make his face a little smoky and spooky and stuff?
I think the outfit will kind of be, not, I don't want to say he's going to wear a dress, but, it's going to be indicative of...
It'd be great if he went full on with like a tattered, burnt up dress, keeping with continuity.
Right.
That was the dress she was buried in, type of thing. Don't want to go down Katie Vick Road, but it's kind of, you know what I mean? You take that dress and he's wearing that and it's all burnt and tattered up. I think go with it. If you're going to lean into a character like this, lean into a character like this. End of the day, what comes out of it?
I would hope that Finn Balor wins. I mean, not Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt wins this.
It's about time. Come on.
Right? You've had Finn Balor go over multiple times on Bray Wyatt. So Finn Balor is back, right? In terms of, like, he came back from the injury, he's back.
Sure.
And so now you need to kind of reestablish Bray Wyatt as a credible opponent to people. And if you're going to add
it's only taken him 5 years.
Yeah, right. If you're going to add another layer to this, if you're going to create another depth piece for this character, then it's time for Bray Wyatt to win.
Can Bray Wyatt let Bray Wyatt win? Hashtag give Bray a chance.
Hashtag give Bray a chance.
Give Bray a chance. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, hashtag Wyatt not now.
Wow. Well done. Wyatt not now. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you think Bray coming out of it? I'm hoping Bray.
I'm hoping Bray.
I'm leaning more on hope than my thought on this one, because my head tells me Finn Balor.
Yeah.
But my heart says Bray Wyatt. You know, I
Yeah.
want that. Just everything you said, I agree 100% on. I want him to move on to the next thing.
I want them both, too.
Well, yeah, you want him to move in separate directions, but I want Bray to continue down this spooky road. He's always been... The fans have always kind of labeled him, the next Undertaker, until he started losing a lot, and that kind of spoiled it all. But he still has that, and there's still glimmers of that. Like I said, the Ministry of Darkness type of Undertaker that I loved. That whole goofy storyline that they did in the late 90s, where he was abducting people and he had a whole cult around him.
My favorite part about Ministry Undertaker was he was bent on world domination.
Yes.
But the only thing that separated him, the reason Hitler failed in taking over the world was that he wasn't World Wrestling Federation champion. Right. So the Undertaker.
You love that analogy. It's the second time you've used that analogy here.
I have. But the reason the Undertaker was going to dominate the world was he was going to be World Wrestling Federation champion.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
And I love that nonsense.
I like it. And that's the kind of direction I want them to take.
Right.
And they've abolished the whole Wyatt family. That's a mess. Yeah. I love what they're doing over on SmackDown with the Bludgeon Brothers, is what they're calling them now.
Sure.
Whatever, the vignettes are awesome.
Oh,
Again, but it's like, why are you separating this? They're both doing the same thing.
Right.
Make them one, and hopefully maybe it does. Maybe we see Survivor Series. That's where all the stuff collides.
Yeah. Hopefully the Wyatt family
the Wyatt family collides at Survivor Series, and we get it all kind of meld up in some weird murky type of spooky stuff, which I love. Okay, so Bray Wyatt, Finn Balor. We both want Bray Wyatt, thinking Finn Balor.
Right.
Okay. Asuka finally making her debut after debuting on NXT for a year or so and having the best run ever. But she's finally, to the general public, making her debut against Emma.
This is exactly what we got the first time Asuka debuted in NXT, she faced Emma. So this is wash, rinse, repeat.
Sure. Yeah, but they're finally giving Emma a chance, which is what she's been asking for on Twitter. Apparently, I don't follow her.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what she tells me on TV.
Yeah, she's gonna get in there and she's gonna be, cannon fodder for Asuka. Asuka's gonna get in there.
She's gonna kick her a lot in the face.
She's gonna kick her
knee her a lot in the face.
Yeah, it's gonna be butt whooping, as they say.
So you can go follow Emma on Instagram now, and hopefully you can see what she used to look like when she was pretty before she got into the ring with Asuka and got her face mangled up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most no-brainer match on the card. There's no way.
I'm going to ask you a tough question. Who do you think's coming out the winner?
Asuka. Yeah, this is the most no-brainer on the card.
So they're going to give Emma a chance, just not a win.
Yeah, she'll give her a chance, not a win.
Asuka, okay. I mean, obviously. Women's title, a Raw Women's title. Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James.
Yeah.
I love this version of Mickie James. I loved it when she did it in TNA, the hardcore country thing.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely. I think it fits very nicely with her. I'm interested in the story they're telling because, Alexa Bliss did bring her in, and now it's this kind of thing happening, and there's a lot of ageism happening on this one, a lot of it. Even though Mickie James doesn't seem like a very old woman. She's still looking good.
Right.
But where does Nia Jax fit into all this? We've been talking for like 3 months about wanting Nia Jax and thinking it was building towards Nia Jax. Where the hell's Nia Jax?
I don't know.
What the hell is Nia Jax?
These are my hands. They're up. I don't know. I don't know. You're looking at this, and Mickie James got the title shot. Maybe it's because this is TLC, and we want to give Nia Jax a bigger platform, something like a Survivor Series or a Royal Rumble. But I don't know why we haven't gone
Nia Jax.
Yeah, we haven't gone the Nia Jax route. I'm also disappointed that this
I'm fearing, though, because we've been talking about Nia Jax so much, I'm fearing she's going to go with our friend Mojo, and we're just going to sit here talking about her forever and not get the payoff.
Yeah.
Give Mojo a chance.
The other thing that I'm really disappointed about in this particular match is, why isn't this a TLC?
Again,
you have the middle,
I agree 100%. At least a chairs match.
At least a ladder match. Again, this has a title on the line. This has something to go up there to achieve. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss can do some high-flying stuff, so making her be able to jump off of a ladder would be cool.
And Mickie James is not afraid to leave her feet, brother.
Right. So. It's disappointing. It's disappointing that this isn't a TLC match either.
Now, again, the hope is that some of these will get last-minute changes. We do have 2 days, and there is a thing called the Twitter.
Yeah.
They could give us breaking news. If you follow the WWE app, you'll get the breaking news. This has been changed. We added a table. We forgot that we had a gimmick pay-per-view happening, and we just decided at last minute,
well, that's what
let's
happened.
add a bunch of stuff to it.
That's what happened years ago when they did Night of Champions, and all of the titles were on the line, except for the Intercontinental title, and then we were like, why doesn't the Intercontinental title? He has a match.
Right. Why isn't it on the line?
And then at the top of the show, they were like, by the way, your title is on the line.
Our bad.
Yeah.
So, Raw Women's title, Alexa Bliss, the champion, Mickie James. Who's getting it?
I think Alexa Bliss.
I want Mickie James.
Yeah.
This is one of those builds that I've absolutely liked. This has been one of the more entertaining parts of Raw for me over the last couple weeks, is watching these two go back and forth. I think they're both entertaining. The matches, it's a little clunkiness in the matches, but that happens.
Right.
I would definitely want Mickie James. I think it's, what tells me a better story? Is it just Alexa keeping the title and going on again? Unless there's a Nia Jax component.
Which I doubt.
Unless Nia Jax somehow helps Alexa Bliss keep the title. But again, next week we'll move on to frenemy territory, where she wants to chase her for the title. If it's Mickie James, it gives me something to watch for the next few weeks building the SummerSlam.
Survivor Series.
That too. What day is it? I need my coffee, pal. Okay, so moving on to the match of the night with no titles on the line besides two champions being in the match.
Yeah.
Tag team champions, Intercontinental champion in this match.
Right.
TLC, The Shield versus The Miz, The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, Braun Strowman, and Kane. Now we can't call him Demon Kane anymore because we got another demon on the show. Thank God we ended that one.
He's the Mayor Kane.
Did he win that?
It's looking good.
I know Rhino's a governor somewhere, which is awesome in all types of respects. But is it still election season?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I don't think, but I think it's looking good.
Weird, like Kentucky, Knoxville, Tennessee, something like that.
Tennessee, Knox County.
Knox County.
Knox County.
Vote for Kane.
Yeah.
What a wacky match.
I am so so this entire match
You must be really conflicted because 2 weeks ago when we were here sitting in these chairs, you really did not like Roman Reigns.
I still don't.
Okay, so you're not one of those flip-flopping fans because all of a sudden the sound when Roman comes out is a little different last week than it was the week before.
Right.
Something's different about him.
See, every time the Shield comes out for these past couple of weeks, the reaction has been very indicative of how I feel. Right? Seth speaks, everybody cheers. Dean speaks, everybody cheers. Roman speaks, everybody boos. And that's kind of how I feel.
Didn't happen last week.
Yeah, it didn't really happen last week.
I was shocked. Like I was waiting for it. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna give him the mic. He's the last one. He's gonna get the. I'm like, oh, they're cheering.
Yeah.
They're. What's wrong with you?
I know.
What have you done with my WWE universe?
I'm so conflicted, right? Because on the one hand, I like the Shield.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the Shield. I find that act to be very fun, and I'm glad they're back.
Yes.
Right? I don't like that this is basically a vehicle to trick the fan base into cheering Roman Reigns because you liked the Shield, and you're going to cheer the Shield because it's this thing you liked, and it's all a plan so that Roman Reigns doesn't get booed when he main events his 4th straight WrestleMania and wins his 3rd straight WrestleMania main event.
Now, I kind of agree with you on that, but to a different degree. I feel, okay, here's how I feel about Roman Reigns. Majority of Roman Reigns' demo is female.
Right.
Across the board. Women love Roman Reigns, no matter what he does in the ring.
Take.
Exactly. However, the male audience loves Roman Reigns with the Shield.
Right.
They didn't like him without the Shield. Now, when they were the Shield, they went off and they did singles stuff. I mean, Dean didn't defend, but held the United States title for almost a year. You know, they went off and did separate things. I feel that this is a way, kind of agreeing with you, for them to print money.
Right.
We got half the audience. We got the women. Let's get the men.
Right.
Let's get the men back on board. So if they're with the Shield, Roman can then go and, like you said, go do other stuff as long as he's with the Shield.
Right.
And they will cheer him. The second the Shield breaks up, he's the one that's out.
Right.
The other two they like, but he's the one that's out.
Right.
So I feel that this is a way for them. I mean, geez, how quick did they have those T-shirts on?
I know.
We're back together. New shirts.
Yeah, but go buy them.
We got a screen printer out back.
Yeah, and a graphic designer.
But honestly, I kind of geeked out the second when they first got together. I'm like, that's a cool moment.
Right.
They did it well. They held off long enough. I loved the episode of Raw that just ended with them silently in the locker room, standing there staring at each other and just kind of nodding.
That was cool.
They weren't overselling it too much. Everybody kind of knew what was happening. The Miz was overselling the hell out of it.
Right.
And yet that was kind of the telegraphing moment, but I felt they did the actual coming together very well on screen.
Right.
And then them coming through the crowd again, it's like, yeah, you get those old nostalgia feelings. It's like, that was cool. Right. And I like it because it was cool. I like the coolness of them coming through and wearing their old stuff, no matter how uncomfortable Dean Ambrose looks in a flak jacket. He hates that, by the way. I've done an interview with him. He despised the flak jacket. He was so happy to get out of it, and now he's back in it to, hashtag print that money, pal.
Yeah, right. Hashtag going over.
Now, their opponents are an
hodgepodge.
What a mess. It's like, well, we got a bunch of great acts. Nothing for them because Jeff Hardy's hurt, so we can't have that match with the Bar.
Yeah, right.
So let's get them involved. Is Bo Dallas hurt? Legit?
I think he's sick.
Or is he off shooting another Marine 6 movie?
Maybe.
Okay, he's the Marine.
I think he's sick.
Okay.
I think that there's something, and not just I got the sniffles.
Food poisoning or something?
I think he's, really sick, and so, he's
hashtag get better Bo.
Yeah, so I think,
because that's why... you.
Because that's why Bray Wyatt's been gone, too.
Okay, so family issues.
So family, family.
All right. Curtis Axel, I think he's one of the greatest entertainers we have on the show. He is one of the greatest sidekick comic relief acts on WWE. He's fantastic.
Right.
I want to see him play a lawyer in a TV drama. Yeah. He is great. And when they hung him upside down or something, fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, the makeup woman seemed to have a hell of a day putting all the bruises on him, but I'm like, what is that? The Miz is like, oh, who attacked you? And I'm like, well, clearly the makeup woman.
Yeah, clearly the makeup artist.
So he's out.
Yeah. And so it's the Miz, the Bar.
I really feel he's going to run in, though.
Probably.
He has to.
Right.
You know, he was vying for that role.
Right.
So the Miz, the Bar.
Yep.
Which I love they're finally leaning into calling them the Bar.
Yes.
Not the Young Bucks, but the Bar. Braun Strowman, your guy.
I love Braun Strowman.
And coming through the ground, Kane.
Yeah, you know, we talked about this on New Age Insiders on our most recent episode of NAI Pod. So because Kane looks like he's going to win this mayorship, this might be Kane's last match. I loved how he came
or at least last run of it.
This is, or whatever. You know, maybe he goes to Survivor Series and that's it. But this might be it for him because he's 50 years old. If he wins this mayorship, right?
He's in Big Show territory now, where it's like each one of these matches
could be
it.
But you look at it, and 50 years old, if he wins this mayorship, he's going to be a full-time mayor and won't be able to be in a program, right, for at least 2 years. I don't know what the mayorship is, but it's somewhere between 2 and 4 years.
How's Rhino eating Cheese Whiz every week?
I don't know.
Apparently, wherever he's a governor, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, right. It's just like
that state runs itself.
Yeah, we have crippling depression. So that's what we have. But
so this could be. I did like though, and if this is his last, it's kind of cool how they brought him back. Much like how the Big Show went out, we were all assuming that his last match could be his last match, where he entered the WWE in a cage, threw Austin through it, and that's how he went out.
Right.
Very poetic, as they like to do. Kane entered the WWE through a cage, draped in red light.
Right.
He entered it again in a cage, draped in red light.
Yeah, you know, and
it's storytelling, it's poetry.
Right. And
it's wrestling.
I think Kane's in this match to lose too. I think that's, you know, what we're
Well, that's what you do.
Right.
I mean, that's what you do. It's tradition. You go out on your back.
Right. I think that this is it for Kane. I think this might be it. If we do continue, it's Kane versus Roman at Survivor Series because, you know, he's really pissy about having Roman Reigns put The Undertaker down. You know?
Maybe.
He was like, that's my job.
Well, that could be a shoehorn storyline, I guess.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
Yeah, but I think Kane's in here to lose, and I think it's because this is it. We wanted to give him one final match before he goes and becomes a mayor and goes into politics.
The curiosity factor, as you've brought up throughout the show, is how this match ends.
Right.
Because, like you said, there really isn't anything on the line, despite the tag titles and the Intercontinental title being involved, but not on the line.
Right.
How do they win? Is it a tables match?
No, it's going to be a pin.
It's going to be a pin match.
It's going to be a pinfall match because the Shield...
So they're literally using it all as just gimmicks just to get a pinfall.
The Shield, in their first official match, took on Team Hell No, Kane and Daniel Bryan, and Ryback in a TLC match that was pinfall. It came into a pinfall. Also, side note, breaking point for Chaotic Wrestling is a week from today, and Ryback is going to be there. Now, that's irrelevant. Go get your tickets, chaoticwrestling.com. That's a ton of fun. But what you need to know is that my co-host on the New Age Insiders, Jason Malthoff, will be driving Ryback around.
Okay.
And at Survivor Series that was most recently in Boston, I think it was 2014, we had aisle row seats. And as Ryback was leaving, Jason looks at him and goes, you stole your gimmick from Goldberg.
He's
a huge Goldberg fan and all this other stuff. And he looks him dead in the eye and says, "I hope you die." Ryback told Jason, "I hope you die."
So tell us the Twitter to follow.
At New Age Insiders, follow it because next Friday...
Because he goes live on Periscope when he's driving wrestlers around.
Yes, he goes live on Periscope to do the whole thing. And so the game plan is he's going to play Goldberg's theme and see if he notices.
If he notices, how is he not?
I don't know.
It's been the bane of his career.
It's going to be the most magical thing in the world, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing.
So when is this again?
This is next Friday.
Next Friday. Follow at New Age Insiders because Jason will be going live on Periscope in a car with Ryback playing the Goldberg theme. So if you want to see someone driving a car getting murdered, watch that. A little bit of exaggeration. Calm down. It's just having fun here. But where is Chaotic Wrestling being held?
I believe I actually don't know where.
ChaoticWrestling.com?
ChaoticWrestling.com. You head over there. You can find all the information there.
Do a hell of a product.
Yeah.
Great local independent promotion. But back to the match.
Yes.
Back to the match. Not the Ryback match, but the Shield versus
but that was a pinfall.
Match.
That was a pinfall.
Okay.
And so having the pinfall be there, that's what this match is going to be. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if the Shield lose, but, it would have to be Braun Strowman.
I don't see that happening.
I don't think.
I don't see the Shield losing on this one.
Yeah.
This was they've stacked the deck so far.
Right, and I feel like
it's like this. They have to overcome this.
This is going to be one of those situations where Braun Strowman just hates everybody, and Braun Strowman just attacks the Miz.
You think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah.
He just goes mental and just takes out the Miz, takes out the bar, tries to take
and
out
then
Kane.
leaves, and then leaves. I think it would be one of those situations.
Just bails.
Yeah, he just destroys the Miz in the bar, and then
Braun Strowman is not paid by the hour.
Right, he's not.
And Him and Brock Lesnar do not get paid by the hour.
I
think we're all in agreement. The Shield is going to come out on top with a big triple power bomb, probably a spear. I would love Roman to stop doing the Superman punch so much.
Right.
Like I am a Roman Reigns fan. I like Roman Reigns. I've always been a supporter of his from day one. That's the one thing I can't get behind because he's overdone it.
Right, and what I hate about it...
When you do something special 50 times...
It's not special.
It's not special anymore.
And I like the pomp and the circumstance of him being in the corner, him punching the ground...
Cocking the thing, doing the Superman thing.
And then going and doing it. And that I like.
It's a people's elbow.
Right.
It doesn't look effective, but it's a people's elbow.
But that aspect of it where there's some pizzazz to it, I like that. What I don't like is how he'll go for that, it'll get reversed, and then he'll cock his fist again
50 times
to then punch it, and then he cocks it again and punches somebody else, and then cocks it again and punches somebody else. And it's like, stop it.
You know what he doesn't use enough that I love? The drive-by.
Yeah.
When he gets that person on the thing and he runs around the ring and does that sliding kick.
Yep.
Well, the first time I saw him do it, I'm like, that's fantastic. That's a cool. And then they say it's a drive-by. I'm like, that's a cool name.
Right.
That's awesome.
He does a Splash Mountain, which I think is really cool. It's where you have him in a
not a Space Mountain.
Woo! Splash Mountain, which is the Razor's Edge, but instead of going like all the way down with the Razor's Edge, it's up into a power bomb.
I have never seen that.
Oh, he's done it several times,
really?
And I'm like, that is a better finishing move.
Great one.
That is a great one.
That's fantastic.
But he doesn't.
Now, do you think they don't use it too much because it's almost like the pop-up power bomb?
It's almost like the pop-up power bomb, and it's difficult to do to people.
I would assume so.
Like if you have a
and he wrestles kind of bigger guys,
right? And so he wouldn't be able to do that to Braun Strowman,
sure,
right? And so it's tough to be able to do that.
Gotcha. All right, Shield taking it.
Yes,
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah. Okay.
TLC. What's your overall feeling of the show that we just ran down? Tables, ladders, and chairs.
I think that it's going to have some good moments. The last Raw pay-per-view was kind of a disappointment in terms of the front half of that show being very good.
Mm-hmm. It was a two-match show, as we talked about.
Right, and then the two matches that were the two-match show didn't deliver.
Right.
Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman wasn't good, and neither was John Cena versus Roman Reigns. Both of those matches were not the best.
You weren't a fan.
I was not a fan. But the top half of that card was really good. There were really good matches in there. So
I think the overall thing, and we've been talking about this almost since we started the show,
right,
is Raw has a harder time building to a pay-per-view. I feel SmackDown tells much better stories heading into pay-per-views. Like, I watched 2 hours of SmackDown, and I'm entertained.
Right.
Like, they're telling stories. Everybody's kind of telling a different story here and there. Right. Fandango, my God, those guys.
They're the
Breezango
best.
Is fantastic.
They're the best.
Give them all the screen time they want. But Raw just kind of, I don't know, maybe it's the bloatedness of 3 hours. Maybe it's, I don't know, the roster just isn't right for building stories. But like I said, the most entertaining thing for me has been the Alexa Bliss and Mickie James thing.
Right.
I mean, granted, I love the Shield getting back together. I think it's been fun. I think The Miz is entertaining as hell. But telling a story, and then they just kind of put the entire roster in the end of this match.
Right, and it's really frustrating because The Miz could wrestle Samoa Joe for the Intercontinental title on this match. I don't even know.
Joe, where has he been? Is he
hurt? I don't know. Okay. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if he's just off TV. But you could have easily just swapped out The Miz.
One does not lose to Brock Lesnar and come back easily.
Right, yeah, except for unless you're Braun Strowman.
Right, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman is the exception to every rule we ever said.
Right. But, you know, you're looking at that, and it's just like, where's that guy? You know, where's Matt Hardy?
Sure.
Matt Hardy could have been in a match.
He could have.
What has happened to Gold Dust? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people that had tidbits of stories that just never flourished.
And again, I feel part of this is the undercard of these pay-per-views kind of gets lost. I mean, you have 2 cruiserweight matches on the main show.
Right.
Where, again, you could have had a Jason Jordan in there. You could have had a Matt Hardy. You could have, you know, there's a lot of undercard guys that are that show up as functional members of the roster on Raw, but then never really get those payoffs.
We never got any sort of resolution to R-Truth and Goldust. Ever.
Oh, we never did. We never will.
We never will at this point, but that's an example of, like, do we need the tag team cruiserweight match, or could we have found something relevant?
Again, I thought that was a
Jordan
Kickoff show when I first read it.
Right. You know, and that's what I think that the planning for these pay-per-views, they don't do a good job of actually building to these smaller shows.
Right.
Because I think they do a good job of getting to the bigger shows, like Survivor Series, they'll do a great job.
Yep.
But I think that they live too much for the big players. And maybe it's because their show is more bloated with bigger stars.
Right.
And that's why it's built that way.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Maybe it's just SmackDown is the land of opportunities. # give Mojo a chance. Anyway, moving on to our wrestling rant of the week. We got wrestling factions. The good, the bad, and the, quite honestly, excessive.
Yes.
There has been many wrestling factions in the world of professional wrestling. Currently today, we have a few, okay? I'm not counting just tag teams.
Right.
You have to have, I believe, 3 members at the minimum. That way we can put the New Day and the Freebirds in there.
Right.
Okay? So currently in the WWE, there's the Shield, the Miztourage, the New Day, and kind of the Club.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the
Club was brought in with AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson.
Right. And I like that because...
And there never was a breakup. They just went to different shows.
And they're still technically together.
Right. They're still the Club.
They're still the Club together, and I like that. I do like that they're split across the 2 shows, but still technically a unit. Mm-hmm. So I do like that.
And outside the world of WWE, I felt the 2 bigger ones were in whatever they're calling TNA is the LAX, the Latin American Exchange, with Conan as the figurehead of that, and the Bullet Club, which is pretty much everywhere.
Right, and then by extension you have Chaos and IJL in Los Ingobernables de Japón. I always mess it up.
I was going with the ones that I've seen T-shirts of.
Yeah, but those are 2 very big ones.
Sure.
Okada is the head, probably the best wrestler on the planet right now.
I do like that they're kind of leaning into factions though.
Yes.
I like that they're starting to kind of build. I mean, the Miztourage thing, and they got kind of the bar is now with them. Right. Elias and the Club are weirdly linked together now.
Right.
They're like his roadies, which is a great opportunity for Tex Ferguson to get involved. Southpaw Regional Wrestling, watch it. But bringing back the Shield, I feel that they're trying to get the faction thing going again.
Yeah, this is one of those things you can point to as an influence for Triple H.
Oh, absolutely.
Triple H is a
loves
big
factions.
Proponent of factions. So,
he's been in a few.
He's been in quite a few.
We got a few Triple H factions around the world here. But let's run down a couple. First off, if you have to go back, what's your favorite?
My
favorite faction of all time.
Favorite faction of all time, and this is going to sound weird because it's going to hit the ear weird, the NWO Wolfpack.
Okay.
Just because...
Black and red.
Black and red. You had Sting in the black and red face paint, which I'm a huge fan of Sting, and I loved him. Kevin Nash was the figurehead of that. Scott Hall was involved in that, so you had the Outsiders, and they were kind of cool. Disco Inferno and Conan.
Kind of.
And Lex Luger. That was the Wolfpack, but... Mostly because Kevin Nash and Sting are 2 of my favorite wrestlers of all time. They were both in that. I was a big WCW guy. I liked both of them. So.
And dare I say, I know it might be sacrilege in wrestling, better theme song than the original NWO. I love the NWO.
It's a classic.
But those 2 theme songs, credit to Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, they're great.
Jimmy Hart is a great musical mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Wolfpack one is just it's so cool, and it fits Kevin Nash so well.
Right.
Like you hear that, and you can just picture in your mind him walking to the ring.
Right. And so it's really cool. So that's one of my favorite ones of all time, probably in WWE, right? WWF.
Sure.
Evolution
Evolution was good.
I really liked Evolution, even though it wasn't the best physical shape for Triple H. I loved the concept. I thought that the concept was so much fun from having him basically surround himself with the past and future of WWE.
Now, if you're going to go the dregs of factions, what was one that you were like, nope, not buying any part of this?
I hated the Mexicools.
Okay.
I thought it was dumb. I didn't like any of the performers, if I'm being honest. I didn't like any.
It was Juventud, Super Crazy, and Psychosis,
but unmasked Psychosis. Sure. So I wasn't really
because you can't get over with a mask, pal.
Yeah, I wasn't really in on any of them. I also thought it was really dumb that they drove lawnmowers to the ring.
Well,
so,
it was what it was.
Yeah. I also hated the Blue World Order.
Really?
I did not like the Blue World Order.
I thought the BWO would have been right up your alley.
Yeah, no, I didn't like the BWO.
Wow.
And Right to Censor.
Yeah, but they were
supposed to.
You were not supposed to like them.
Know.
From their theme song, if you want to call it a song.
Yeah.
It was basically a EAS test.
Yeah, it was just a siren.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Like, look, here's the deal.
And not a cool one like Scott Steiner.
Yeah, I hated. You
don't like Stevie Richards. You don't like Stevie BWO, Right to Censor. You're not a Stevie Richards guy.
Yeah, I guess I'm not.
Okay.
We found
Nothing
that out
wrong with
today.
it.
I found out in Orlando that I'm a huge closeted Jimmy Buffett fan. And I didn't
You
even
are
know
like
that.
an onion, my friend.
I am. I have so many layers.
Peel it off.
But you did your job because I hate the Right to Censor.
Mm-hmm.
I hated the Right to Censor, and I was supposed to.
That's exactly what you were supposed to do.
So you got me.
I would have to say my favorite. I've mentioned them a bunch of times on the show already. The original Ministry of Darkness,
right?
Which was Undertaker, Mideon, Acolytes, Viscera, Paul Bearer. Who else was? I think that's it for the original
Mideon.
One. And we'll not get into Naked Mideon, but I thought that they were telling a great, very weird story.
Yeah.
From the Acolytes abducting Dennis Knight, putting him in the weird Undertaker sex dungeon down there with chains and all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah. Then they bring him out in front of a live audience, which I was at the show. It was in Worcester the night Mick Foley won his first title. And they basically sacrificed him. The Undertaker has this giant knife, cuts his wrist, makes Mideon drink the blood. I mean, it was as theatrical can get.
Yeah.
So they were up there. One that didn't work for me, the Union.
Yeah, the Union was
dumb. The Union was real dumb.
Yeah.
It was Mick Foley, Big Show, Test, Ken Shamrock, and partially Vince McMahon.
Right.
And they carried 2x4s around.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work.
No, it was
and I think the biggest part of it not working was Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
You cannot can't have him being part of a babyface faction.
Yeah.
You really can't.
Another one was Aces and Eights.
I liked it to a point.
See, I thought it nosedived. Right?
It got very, it did what most of these factions end up doing. If they stick around long enough, they become the NWO, where it starts off really cool. You got 3 to 5 guys that are really good at it. Then everybody wants to get that merch check, so you got 30 people coming out in NWO shirts. It got to a point in WCW where it was literally NW, like they were talked about it. They were going to change the name to NWO Nitro.
Right.
It was a thought process thing. So, yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. You can't get too bloated on things. I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of the original DX.
Yes.
I credit the original DX, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna, Rick Rude, getting me back into wrestling.
Okay.
It was as a wrestling fan, I've gone through peaks and valleys.
Yep.
And I was in a valley coming through the new generation.
Yeah.
And I went to, just randomly, I was walking around Boston in the Garden area, and I saw a bunch of people going into the Garden. Knew there wasn't a Bruins game happening. So I go up, and what's going on? Oh, WWF.
Yeah.
Why not? Go up to the box office, get myself a $20 ticket, go in. And it was really the first time back in 96, 97-ish, where I was exposed to that Attitude Era and the whole suck it thing and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is wrestling now? Yeah. And I immediately went home and set my VCR, Google it, kids, for Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And I've been full board ever since. I became their target demo for the Attitude Era, and I credit DX for that.
One faction that really kind of got me back into wrestling was Scum. And Scum is a Ring of Honor faction. It's Jimmy Jacobs, Matt Hardy,
I do remember
Kevin
them.
Steen,
Yeah.
right now Kevin Owens, and they were the biggest deal in Ring of Honor for a little bit. They were, it was while Kevin Owens was doing the Wrestling's Worst Nightmare gimmick, and he was the Ring of Honor champion, and he really brought me back into wrestling because I had been gone for a long time, and that was the type of brand of wrestling that I was looking for.
Sure.
So I credit them, and probably my favorite faction currently has to be Chaos. Chaos is the New Japan faction. Kazuchika Okada, he is the head of that faction. He's probably my favorite wrestler on the planet right now. New Japan Pro Wrestling, go check it out. New Japan World, it's like the WWE Network. It's like $3 cheaper. Their shows are at 3 o'clock in the morning. So if you find out that there's a New Japan show, most likely I stay up and start live tweeting these things at 3 o'clock in the morning.
They're also on AXS.
They are. They're also
Access
on Access Channel. Yeah. But these are the pay-per-views, and so
I get my DVR set to New Japan. It just like almost every day there's a different New Japan show on, so it just picks it up. Now you also deal with there was a lot. WCW did a lot of factions. I realized that in my research here. Dangerous Alliance, absolutely loved. One of my. I mean, anything kind of Paul E does. It's just going to be done very well. And the Dangerous Alliance was one of the best factions I feel we ever had. All absolute Hall of Famers.
Right.
Actually, I think they are all in the Hall of Fame now, with Larry Zbyszko entering.
Yeah.
So he was one of the last holdouts. Rick Rude also was in that as well. He just entered as well. Now, as far as WCW on the other side of the coin,
3 count.
Not 3 count.
I like 3 count.
Now, I feel they're kind of mixed matched. The Alliance to End Hulkamania / the Dungeon of Doom.
Ooh, my favorite promo.
We've talked a lot on this episode about theatrical spookiness happening in WWE and how it's supposed to be done right.
Yeah.
You want to see how it's supposed to be done wrong?
Yeah, you watch Dungeon of Doom.
Go to the WWE Network and put Dungeon of Doom into that little search engine and enjoy. Pour yourself a nice drink first, but enjoy that programming.
One of my favorite things has to be when the Dungeon of Doom transports Hulk Hogan into the Dungeon of Doom.
I know exactly where you're going.
Hulk Hogan goes, "I've never been here before."
Yep.
There's no Hulkamaniacs
here.
And then he walks over to a fountain and he sticks his hand under the water and goes, "Ah,
ow!
It's not
that's
hot." It's
Ow,
also
that's not hot. It was the entrance of the Giant.
The Giant, Paul White, or the Big Show.
Yep.
Take your pick.
Yep.
That was where his TV debut.
It was in that moment, like right after the "ow, it's not hot," boom, the wall explodes.
Yeah.
And here comes the Giant,
who played Andre the Giant's kid. That was the character.
That was the gimmick.
That was the
and
character.
if you go back to watch last week when we were casting Pandemonium, my choice for Andre the Giant in that.
Yeah.
Actually, fun Andre the Giant side story while we have a minute or two. I actually just went and saw The Princess Bride, the 30th anniversary, in the theater.
Oh, Fathom Events?
Fathom Events, and Rob Reiner did a nice little thing before and after the movie, and he told a lot of fun Andre stories.
That's cool.
So definitely Fathom Events, I give them a big plug.
They're very good at what
fantastic. You can't talk factions without talking, woo, Four Horsemen.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But, again, like most factions, you have to talk about the original because it got weird.
Yeah.
When you start entering Paul Roma into your Four Horsemen talk, you gotta just stop and move on with it.
Right.
It was Arn, Tully, Ole, JJ, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that's a lot more than 4 people, they are the Four Horsemen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the Four Horsemen. Barry Windham, you can add him in, I guess.
Yeah.
He's actually officially in the Hall of Fame under the Four Horsemen, but that was the original.
Is Chris Benoit?
Who?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the Radicals.
Yeah.
That was another great faction debut.
Yes.
The Radicals, who were the Revolution plus Shane Douglas in WCW.
Yes.
And then they just basically said, "I quit."
Yeah, they left.
Went over to WWE and showed up in one of the that's what I was talking about, the Wahoos.
Right.
The stuff that doesn't happen anymore, partially because of the internet, because we know everything. That's something that was like, it was, as they said it on TV, you watching and you knew that wasn't supposed to be happening.
Right.
Those guys, they work. Chris Benoit was the champion on the other show.
Right.
And now he's sitting front row on Raw. And now they're jumping the barricade. And what is happening?
Right.
And where did Perry Saturn get that shirt?
Yeah.
I am a big Perry Saturn guy. Ate chicken wings with Perry Saturn at the Golden Banana. There's a local reference.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, moving on, I think we haven't really talked about ECW factions. And I think we ought to wrap up there. One of my favorite factions was the network.
Okay.
Led by Cyrus the Virus, Don Callis, who I've tweeted before, and who's actually a fan of this show when we talk about him. So we'll put you over big time, Don. He has a great podcast with Lance Storm called Killing the Town. Definitely check it out. Killing the Town with Cyrus and Lance Storm. There you go, sir. Put you over. But he was part of the network. He was the head of the network when ECW was on TNN, off TNN, having a hell of a time with TNN.
Yeah.
But it just made for such great heel fodder. He had Rhino, he had Steve Corino, Jack Victory right there. I mean, it was, nobody can talk like Don Callis.
Right.
He was also in WWE, the Truth Commission.
Yep.
The Jackal, that was who was playing.
The Jackal.
The Jackal in the WWF at the time. Impact Players.
Okay.
Despite the fact that they were a tag team, there was a bit more components to them because they had Don Marie, they had Jason, the world's sexiest man. But it was Lance Storm and Just Incredible. And personally, probably the best version of Just Incredible we ever got.
Okay. Yeah, Raven's Flock.
Raven's Flock.
That's a huge one. And the Dudleys.
The Dudley family was so much fun.
Right.
It gave us Joel Gertner.
Yeah,
that's what gave us Joel Gertner. He was originally their ring announcer that transformed into the quintessential stud muffin, Joel Gertner, and gave him a career.
Right.
You know, Big Dick Dudley, Dances with Dudley, Sign Guy Dudley, and of course, Bubba Ray, Devon, the Dudley Boys.
Right, and then Little Spike Dudley.
And Little Spike, who was the runt of the litter, as they say.
Yeah.
But there was also your least favorite BWO in there.
Yeah, I don't like
I will not understand. The Baldies were great. They did factions very well, I feel, in ECW, but it helped tell that story because ECW was it had that gang warfare type of mentality.
Right.
But they're not gangs, pal, they're factions.
Of course.
So they did that very well. The Job Squad started there.
That's right.
Al Snow, the JOB on the PPV.
Yeah.
Love it. Like I said, Raven's Flock, the Triple Threat. Shane Douglas, Chris Candido, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Right.
Again, great promo cutting. That was what I felt ECW really excelled in, was that fantastic. They sucked you in with their promos.
Right. Because the wrestling wasn't that great.
Yeah, you could hide through editing. That was one of the nice things about what Paul did, was you could hide. It was almost like, the matches were more like music videos almost.
Right.
It was quick cuts, lots of music. If you watch, that's why New Jack's matches took so long to get onto the network.
Right.
The music. It was fantastic, despite the fact it was illegal. But I think we did a hell of a job on the factions. I'm very proud of us.
Yay.
Look at all this research I did.
So much research.
And we didn't even chip the tip of the iceberg here.
Oh, there's so many.
There's 47 different heart foundations.
Right. We didn't even talk about the Filthy Animals.
The Filthy Animals, the Heenan family, the Clique. Do they count as a faction because they were a real-life group?
I wish they would. Because
I'm going to do this and try to get a cease and desist. Woo! There you go.
That was two things.
It was. But yeah, Los Boricuas.
Mount Rushmore. That's the Young Bucks, Kevin Steen.
Yeah.
And Adam Cole. It was
there
very fun.
$1 Million Corporation. That was a weird one.
That is a weird
$1 Million Man IRS. Nikolai Volkov, who was playing an American kind of version of himself then.
Yeah, weird.
Bam Bam was in that one as well.
Bam Bam's floating around.
Bam Bam's been in a bunch. I love that Nikolai Volkov had it wasn't a dollar sign, it was a cents sign on his tuxedo.
Yeah.
It was a nice little touch. Full-blooded Italians. The FBI have kind of bounced around to a few different ones. Yep. They were, of course, the Mamalukes in WCW.
Yeah.
That was also part of the Baldies. They just kind of took those guys. You want to talk about bad factions? The Jersey Triad. Again, Bam Bam Bigelow coming up, this time on the bottom end with DDP and Chris Kanyon.
Who better?
Who better than Kanyon? Well, that will do it for this episode of That Wrestling Show. Join us next month as Survivor Series happens. We already have our first possible match. Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar.
God help us all.
Do they put both titles on the line? And does Brock go to WrestleMania with all the gold?
Yeah, because it's all together. Give it to Roman.
Give it to Roman. Roman's going to be a double champion.
Oh,
I love it. Universal and WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Fantastic.
Hate it.
Cannot wait for that. Again, thank you for joining us here on NESN Live. Don't forget to tweet out at us at Mike Wendt, at Liam NAI, and we'll see you next month for Survivor Series. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.